But first, let's go to Alex Hogan live in Rome with the latest. Alex.
Hi, Kaylee. It's great to be with you. So, as you mentioned, Leo XIV is the first ever American Pope, and the world is leaning in to learn more about the new leader of the Catholic Church. The 69-year-old was born in Chicago in 1955 to the name Robert Prevost. His family says even as a child, he was focused on religion and served as an altar boy. While he is American, he spent 2/3 of his life in South America and Europe. He served as a missionary in Peru for much of his career, where he became a dual citizen. Quickly rising among the ranks, he was appointed as a cardinal in 2023, and then earlier this year, the late Pope Francis elevated him to do the senior ranks of cardinals. Pope Leo is seen as a centrist. He's championed the marginalized and the poor. He's called on the church to combat climate change. He's voiced opposition to the ordainment of women. While he supported a declaration by Pope Francis to permit blessings for same-sex couples, Pope Leo says it needs to act in unison with local contexts and cultures. Critics of Pope Leo have accused him of mishandling sex abuse cases in Peru and Chicago. His diocese argued that those accusations were handled according to church policy at the time. In 2023, Prevost said that the church must be transparent with abuse allegations. There could be some future disagreements between the new American Pope and the White House. The pontiff has called out the Trump administration's approach to immigration. Still, the president and vice president congratulated him on his election yesterday. And today, Pope Leo, in his first address during this morning mass, spoke to the responsibility of his new role. He also says that he hopes his papacy can help the church to be a light, especially on dark days. Kaylee?
Alex, thank you very much for that report. You know, Harris, it was a pretty amazing moment. We were just about 7 minutes into the show, and we were talking about something entirely different. And then we hear white smoke, and we all wondered who that would be. And, you know, as we were listening to the sounds and taking it in, we were all speculating and talking. And we said, you know, the likelihood of an American Pope is small. And I started reading about Prevost and looking into his bio. And I'm like, okay, but yeah, it's small, the chances. But conventional wisdom died yesterday, as did the media predictions, which have been consistently wrong on this.
Well, and one thing that Jonathan Morris has said all along is that if he put out a couple of names, they were sure not to be the people.
He's very humble.
That was very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest moment of all, I think, for America and the world is that we have a strong, brave Christian voice walking the planet. I mean, that is really the banner that I see the Pope carrying, the love of Jesus Christ, and not to be succumbing to persecution or anything that would quiet that, or as we say, put out that light, cover it up with, you know, with a bushel. So I think this is so important for all of the world, you know, for all Christians. For the Catholic Church, if you are in Chicago today and hearing that he is a White Sox fan, I mean, people are really digging down on this Pope. I mean, it is a thing now. He is somewhat of a celebrity coming, the first in all of the years in history. We're only 249 years old, but 2,000 years of the church. I mean, it's a big deal to come from this country. So people are celebrating. I'm personally celebrating the banner that gets carried that the love of God is walked out on a planet where it needs to be heard every single day.
Absolutely. You know, Paul, I was thinking a lot about this, and you see people on both sides of the aisle saying, let's put this Pope in this political box or that political box. And it occurred to me this morning, a question my dad used to ask me growing up is, what's your worldview, Kaylee? I want you to think deeply about what your worldview is. And I think it's better to describe Pope Leo as what's his worldview. And I looked deeply into this, and what I found was a man whose worldview is not through the prism of politics. He takes Scripture and looks at cultural issues through the prism of Scripture. Scripture is his worldview. And to challenge some of the narratives out there, some who are saying, oh, he'll liberalize the church, and you know, they go on and on. This was in the New York Times. As bishop in Chiclayo, a city in northwestern Peru, he opposed a government plan to add teachings on gender in schools. The promotion of gender ideology is confusing because it seeks to create genders that don't exist, he told a local media news outlet. In a 2012 address to bishops, he lamented that Western news media and popular culture fostered sympathy for beliefs and practices that are at odds with the gospel. I bring this up because you've seen some on the political aisle say, oh, he thinks this about climate change or this about immigration. I think he sees the world through the prism of the gospel?
Yeah, so we're going to have to see, what he brings to the table and the statements that he makes. Prior popes have been generally quite adept at walking that line. They're aware of the fact that there is a political implication to the things that they say, that there are going to be political groups everywhere in the world that there are Catholics. There are going to be people looking for those sorts of signals to try to put the Pope into a political box. If there is a political element to this, I would say two things. First of all, I think the selection look, the process is very Byzantine. It's literally Byzantine, right? So we don't know how he was chosen and what happened. But, the choosing of an American Pope can't be an accident, all right? This is a real first. I thought they were going to go for a different first, which was going to be an African Pope. That's why I said last time I was on,
You did say that.
so I'm all for one as usual. But that said, I think that there is a cognizance of the fact that they want to bring the church back in America and get rid of this narrative. Look, I went to Catholic school. It was fine. I had nothing but good experiences. So I think they want to change the narrative here about the Catholic Church a little bit. I was fortunate to give the keynote speech at the Holy Name Society last month here in New York, and it brought home to me the power that's still there.
Yeah.
The church still has a lot of work to do in this country. It's still very, very relevant. No modern president has won without the Catholic Church, all right?
Tell Kamala Harris. She skipped
Well,
the
that's
Al Smith
exactly it.
dinner.
She blew off the Al Smith dinner. So very relevant, and it's going to be really exciting to watch an American Pope in action.
Yeah, I went to Catholic school pretty much my whole life, too. It was a great experience. I do want to play this. One of the things Francis did really well, I think, is kind of eschew the pomp and circumstance and focus on humility and living a humble life. It seems like that legacy will carry on. Listen to this previous statement from the new Pope.
As Pope Francis has reminded us many times, a bishop is called to serve. His authority is service. And so to look for different ways in which a bishop can serve in any given society, in any given church, I think is very important. The bishop is not supposed to be a little prince sitting in his kingdom, but rather called authentically to be humble, to be close to the people he serves, to walk with them, to suffer with them, and to look for ways that he can better live the gospel message in the midst of his people.
Jerry, I appreciate he says, it's not the job to be a king. It's the job to point up to a king who is above the Pope.
I think this is so interesting, and it's so foreign to about 95% of our culture. Humble? You mean I'm not touting my own story on social media every second of the day? You got to be kidding me. It's so refreshing, so nice to hear. And I think that, I'm seeing evidence, and admittedly, it's just people I talk to every day, that there is a growing kind of religious, spiritual awareness that's growing in this country. And I think more people are getting on board. And it's going to be interesting to see if he can really open up that Catholic Church and more people start joining it. You're already starting to see some of that.
Kennedy, I saved this one for you. A lot of people were like, Cubs are White Sox. Cubs are White Sox. He's from Chicago. His brother confirmed he's definitely a White Sox fan and also confirmed a little more for us. Watch this.
It was like, oh my God, it's Rob. It's never going to be the same. What are we going to do? Oh, yes, it's Rob. Yeah.
I love it.
I still do it, play with guns, knives, bows and arrows. He would play priest. He's more down the middle. Okay, let's see how we can take what Francis did, massage it a little bit. As Pope now, he's just reinforcing the fact that God and Jesus said, follow me and you'll be saved. Evil will not win.
I love that, Kennedy. It's Rob. It's Rob.
Yeah, that was so sweet. They're worried about it like, oh, no. And then when it really happens, like the jubilation, the excitement, how close to home that must hit and how close to home it hits for Americans. There was a sixth grade class from a Catholic school in Chicago who was in Vatican City. Oh. And they found out in the moment that there was not only a new pope, but an American pope from Chicago. Can you imagine how that will resonate in their lives forever? And I think we really, the fact that he came out and said, peace be with you. And if this pope really leads the church. And, you know, as Harris said, other Christians to look up to him in peace. I think that will be a phenomenal step, and there are a lot of people that are certainly ready for that. As an Eastern Orthodox Christian, I embrace the new Pope, and I always look forward to ways the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church can work together and honor the Nicene Creed, one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, and bring more people in. You know, bring more people in with positivity and the idea that there is something greater to look forward to, and you've got someone on your side who wants you to succeed.
It's a special day, and I say that as a Southern Baptist girl married to a Catholic. It is a special day for Christians worldwide.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.